everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today with a little something different. I have to make several Christmas cards for Christmas, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make a card a day, and I'm calling this Christmas Cards with the Cricut, and I'm going to make the card, and then I'm going to take you through the steps that I do to make the card, as well as the supplies that I use. So this is going to be the first card. So let's get started, because I only want to get this done in one video. So what I've done is I've cut out my pieces so I can get through the video in the amount of time that I have. And I'm using this cardstock, and this is just some craft cardstock that I picked up at Michael's. And this measures 5.5 by 8. And then what I'm going to do is take that, and I'm going to use my score pal and score this down the middle to make it 4 1/4. So it now measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'll take my bone folder and fold that in half. So now, then what I'm going to do is I took and I inked the edges with my Tim Holtz vintage photo. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. That was the one step that I didn't do. And I just take and I go around it on the edges like so. And then I've got that complete. And then my top layer measures, and I'm not quite sure where I picked this up because I've had this piece of paper for a long time, so unfortunately I can't tell you where I got it, but it measures 3 15/16 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to take and edge that as well, or ink the edges as well. And I just go around real quick around my edges. And then what I do is I take that and I measure it on there to make sure it's where I want it. And then I take my ATG gun, which I blinged up and made purple, of course. And I just add that. Actually, that's not right. I forgot about the fact that I do add my ribbon. And I picked this ribbon up at Michael's. And so what I'll do is take and measure across. And then on the other side, I'd use the cheater method. And I just take a piece of tape and fold it down and tape on each edge, like so. I have to try to, try to make sure you can get it even. That looks about even. And then I just tape it down on the other side with the tape. Okay, now I take my ATG gun and go across so I can add this to my card. I love my ATG gun. So I'm just going to take and line this up on here like so. And then put that down. Okay. And then what I do is I take another piece of ribbon that I've cut, and I just weave that in between, in the middle there, and then I just tie a knot. It's kind of like just a fake bow that I'm making. And I just take and tie it. Let's see. Can't get that through there. There we go. And then just tie it and kind of meet it in the middle. And then I take my Tim Holtz scissors and snip it at an angle, like so. And that on that side. And then that's my little fake, not fake bow. So we're almost getting to the finishing line here. Okay, so then now I take and I add my reindeer. And the reindeer I cut at 1.5 inches. And this is from the Christmas cartridge. And I actually don't have this cartridge. I designed all my cards on the on my Gypsy. And this Christmas cartridge was a free download that came with the last update. So I don't have the actual handbook. But this is cut at 1.5 inches with just some brown cardstock. And I took and cut some foam tape to put on the back. So we can add that. And that's going to be, I'm going to put that right about there. And then just press down on it. So now I have my reindeer like they're going up into the sky. Okay, the next piece I have here is I have the trees. And the trees are also from the same cartridge, the Christmas cartridge. And I cut these also at 1.5. And then I ink the edges a little bit with some Stampin' Up! True Time. Or Thyme, however you pronounce it. I think it's Time. And I have 2 thick pieces of foam tape on the back. And I'm just going to put that right there. So now I have my trees on there. Now for the house, what I did for the house is I cut the house at 1 3/4. And this was from the My Community cartridge. And I took my, after I cut it out with just some red brick cardstock that I had, I took my Uniball white pen, pigment ink pen, and I just went along the lines that are cut out when you cut this out and highlighted each one of those. The next thing I did to get that effect to look like snow is I took my liquid applique pen, which looks like this, and these are by Marvy, and I took some of this and put it on the area that I wanted to look like snow coming off the house, and then you let it dry. It says to let it dry overnight, and then after you let it dry overnight, the next thing I'm going to do is, to make it have that puffy effect, is you take your heat gun and you heat that up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and I'll be right back. Actually, what I decided to do was let you actually see this as it's starting to puff up. So it's going to be a little noisy for just a second. So what you do is you just run this along here, your heat tool, and as it starts heating up, you'll see it begin to start puffing. And it just takes a second for it to happen. And then that's it. So it ends up, as a matter of fact, I kept it on there just a little too long. It ends up looking like that. So now it's ready to add to my card. So what I'm going to do now is take the house and put some foam tape on the back. So I'm going to put 2 of them because I really like for it to stand out and stick up. And then I just add those to the front of the card. And I'll place it about right there. So that's it for the front of the card. Now for my inside of the card, what I did was I took my Stamp-A-Majig and I took 2 of my stamps that I had for the holidays and I stamped each image out using the Stamp-A-Majig, And just in case you haven't seen how to use one, you basically just take your sheet that comes with your Stamp-A-Majig and you lay it down, and then you take your stamp and put it in the corner edge of the Stamp-A-Majig, and then it stamps out your image. And then what you do next is you take this sheet and you put it where you want the stamped image to appear. And so I'm going to have it appear about right here. And then you take the Stamp-A-Majig again and place it in the corner edge of the sheet. And then you remove the sheet, and then you take and stamp your image again. And I'm using some Stampin' Up! Basic Brown, and I'm going to stamp my image with that. And then I take and I line up my stamp in the corner and then press down. And then I have my image. Now, since I wanted it to say, "May the simple joys of life fill this special day and be yours throughout the year," I decided I wanted to add another image of Happy Holidays. So what I'm going to do is, I've already stamped that image on my sheet. So I'm going to line it up where I want it to be, which is about right here. And then I'm going to take my Stamp-A-Majig and line up the corner edges. And then I'm going to take my stamp and ink it up, and I'm using the basic brown again. And then just go in the corner with the stamp next to the Stamp-A-Majig and stamp. And there you have it. So that's my first card using my Cricut. So this is day 1. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.